Welcome again to another whiteboard session. Today I'm talking one of my favorite topics. We're going to be talking about the eighth wonder of the world, the human body. There is nothing more fascinating. There is nothing that is still a mystery. I think in another 10 years, there is so much about the human body that most of us have never even thought of that are being discovered on a daily basis. But what I want to take you through today is how your body generates energy from the foods that we eat. The human body is a complex machine. You've got millions and millions of chemical reactions happening every single day. And for those actions and those reactions to take place, your body needs energy. And the main source of energy, of course, is food. We have three main macronutrients that your body uses to generate energy. And these macronutrients are carbohydrates, we have protein, and of course we have fats. But today I'm going to focus more on carbohydrates and of course fats. Protein is the building block for every single thing that you do. For me to be able to stand here, for me to be able to have structure, and for you to be able to see me standing straight, I need my body to have enough muscle for it to be able to withstand the stress that I'm getting from gravity. And that's where protein comes in. So I'm going to lay protein aside and then take you through how our body works. You have two sources of energy when it comes to your body. At any given time, you're either using sugar as your main source of fuel or you are using fat. And that is purely determined by the hormonal environment that your body is under. If there is a lot of insulin, then automatically you become what we call a sugar burner. And if there is a lot of glucagon, which is an inversely related hormone to insulin, the two hormones are related. If one is down, the other one goes down. So high insulin equals high fat or high sugar in terms of usage, and high glucagon automatically means that you're burning more fat. So let's look at the human body from a simplicity point of view. All those millions, all those thousands and millions of chemical interactions happening in your body in one simple term is what we refer to as the human metabolism. So for the understanding of this, I will simplify the human metabolic system. This one here, I'm going to call this this is your muscle cells. Muscle cells plus your liver, and this is going to be our storage for any sugary products. This is going to be our blood vessels, and of course here is going to be our fat cells. Right here is our brain, which is the control center for everything that happens into our body. This is the software. Everything else here is the hardware. And then of course here we've got your pancreas in your liver, and your pancreas is responsible for three hormones. The first one here is your insulin. The second one here is your glucagon. And then the third one here is a hormone that we call leptin. Now, I need you to look at this, and I will come back to these hormones later on for you to understand how these hormones do interact with the foods that we eat. Traditionally, our food was purely based on whatever we grow in season. You could not find mangoes when it wasn't a mango season. You could not find maize if it wasn't in the maize season. But all of a sudden we have supermarkets, we have Pick and Pay, we have Woolies, we have boxes, we have Checkers. And all these things with technology, storage technology, all of a sudden we can be able to have access to foods that are automatically out of season. And what that has done is, it's forced us to keep on eating foods, too much of whatever we're not supposed to be eating, but our bodies have not adapted to the new way of breaking down whatever food that is. Now, these are the two main storage tanks. Excess fat gets stored in your fat cells. Excess sugar gets stored in your muscle cells and in your liver. But with this, anything that is extra here has to be stored there. So I will use a very easy analogy when you go to a restaurant. When most of us go to a restaurant, the first thing that the waiter puts in front of us will always be either bread, it will either be a slice of bread, it will either be a slice of roll, and if it's a very well-trained waiter, he'll make sure that this bread is a white bread or white loaf of bread, and he'll always give you this with what? With very soft butter. And the point of this is not because the restaurant likes you. The point of this is not because the waiter is a very good friend of yours. All they're trying to do here is to manipulate your hormones. Because if your hormones are manipulated, then automatically it changes your hunger patterns and it changes what you're going to order in terms of food. At this point, there has to be a chemical reaction. The minute you eat bread, the second thing after bread, which is they give you for free, you have to order something else. And what is the first thing that most of us will always order? It will always be a sugary drink. It will either be a soft drink, it will be a Coke, it will be something like a fruit juice. If you're feeling more sophisticated, it will be a glass of wine. But irrespective of whatever it is that you're ordering, your body does not see the juice. Your body does not see the glass of wine. Your body does not see the soft drink. All your body can see is the byproduct. What is the metabolic byproduct of whatever drink that you're having? And the body can only see what the soda, what the juice, what the wine is going to be broken down to. And the end product there is what we call glycogen, which is sugar. Now, the minute this goes up, automatically your insulin levels gets what? Your insulin level gets spiked. At this point, when the insulin level, now, to be melodramatic here, insulin is not your friend. Your brain's main function is to keep you alive, irrespective of what you want. If you are a woman, chances are you want to fit into your skinny jeans. Chances are you want to fit into your two-part bikini when you're going on the beach. Irrespective, if it's a guy, maybe you're going on holiday, you want a six-pack. But what your brain is more focused on is survival. So if your insulin keeps on going up here, and I'm being melodramatic here, and because most of us keep on eating too much sugar for a very long time, if your sugar keeps on going up, all that your brain sees, it sees you dying. Because over time, if you take too much sugar, at that time you're going to end up being diabetic, and if you get into diabetic, you're going to get into a coma, and you're going to die. This is something that happens over time. So your brain will talk to your pancreas, because all of a sudden your blood sugar level is gone up because of bread that you've eaten. Your pancreas will talk to your insulin, and it will say, hey, this guy's life is in danger. Do something about it. What is the function of insulin? The function of insulin here is to make sure that it takes out as much sugar from your bloodstream. And what does it do with it? The first place it will bring is to come and store it where? It has to come and store it in your fat cells. At that point, your blood sugar level goes down. And what is the first thing that you're going to order from a waiter? In most cases, it will be a soft drink. Same thing happens. Your blood sugar level goes up. This is a drink. Your blood sugar level goes up. We go through this cycle again. Your insulin is released. It comes here. It shuttles everything here. Now you see we keep on spiking our sugar here. Then this comes down because you've had an influx, a response of insulin because of the sugar in your bloodstream. Insulin is released. What happens here? And this is when the waiter comes in front of you. The waiter comes and says, how are you, sir? Did I tell you about today's special? And in most cases, because you've been hormonally stimulated, this is what I call hormonal hunger. This is not, you're not hungry. This is not real hunger because you're hungry, because your hormones are playing up because of your blood sugar level comes up. When the waiter comes here and tells you, sir, ma'am, did I tell you about today's special? We've got 500-gram T-bone steak. And what does it come with? It will either come with chips. It will either come with a side plate of baked potato. It will either come with maybe rice, and any of those straight away. Now remember, there are three things, three causes of spiking your insulin or increasing the blood sugar levels in here. Number one is ingesting simple carbohydrates, which are things like what we're talking about here. Number two, it is eating any kind of carbohydrates. And of course, number three is eating any big meal. It doesn't matter how healthy a meal is. If you eat a very big meal in one sitting, the body can only take what it needs and the rest has to be stored as fat. Now at this point, you get your main course. Now remember your main course now, because you've been hormonally stimulated by these two starters here, you're going to eat more than you've done. Your insulin will be in response to the amount of sugar in your bloodstream. The amount of sugar in your bloodstream is in response to the size of the meal that you ate. Because you've eaten bigger meal than you've eaten in a very long time here, it means the same thing happens. There's a lot of insulin stacked and it comes here. Now, one of the things that most of us don't really understand at all, if you come here, this will come, you eat your meal. When you finish your meal, what does the waiter say when he comes to clear the table? He asks you how the meal was, and automatically what are you going to say? The meal was great. And what does he put next to you? Automatically he will put a menu, and on the menu is giving you offering of their desserts. Now what is the dessert made of? Your dessert here, your dessert is made of sugar. There is no dessert that is made of anything else. Now you remember, now you see the same thing. Now in this one sitting, in this restaurant, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 spikes. And if you're not clever enough to get up after this dessert, your blood sugar level is going to drop. And what is the next thing that we're going to order here? We're going to order coffee. We're going to order we're going to order coffee, we're going to order cappuccino. All these things, we're not eating or drinking all these things because we're hungry. It's because we're being hormonally stimulated. But now, I need you to listen to me carefully. If you're multitasking now, this is one point I'll ask you to put everything aside and listen to me. This is one thing that they never tell us. As much as all this insulin is dumping all this sugar in your muscle cells and in your liver, your muscle cells and in your liver has a very limited storage. Most of us can store between 100 to 350 grams of sugar, which means on average, if I take you right now and I take any kind of carbohydrates out of your diet, you can comfortably survive for the next 10 days. You're not going to be happy chappy, but you're going to be able to survive for that's how much sugar that we have. We have enough sugar in our bodies right now to be able to fire F&B stadium and be able to play a full 90 minutes match. That's how much energy we have in our bodies. But because this has a limited storage and we consistently keep on pushing sugar into this, what does it do? All the excess sugar, what does it say? It sends it into your fat cells. Now, there is one thing that we don't understand when it comes to the fat cells. All these spikes, they keep on going here, but the minute all this fat goes into your fat cells, they are locked in. You have no access for you to be able to use it as a source of fuel. Why do you come to gym? Why do you exercise? We do all these things because we want to change our body composition. Most of the programs out there are weight loss programs. You can lose weight but still be unhealthy. When we talk about this, we're talking about a body composition program. It's useless, or most of the programs out there, 40% of the weight they lose is muscle. But the unfortunate thing is there is a big net loss because you lose the muscle, you're going to gain the fat back, but you're not going to gain the muscle. So which means you might be a small person now than you were, but you end up being a skinny fat person. You lose the muscle, and the shape of your body does not change. When you come or when you start a training program, the important thing is the shape of your body has to change. Your fat ratio has to go up and your fat percentage has to go down. Now, that automatically, there's a lot of things that has happened in a case like that. Your metabolism has improved, you become much stronger, you become much fitter, and you become much healthier. But if you are losing muscle, something that is harder to gain back, then it's better for you not to do that kind of a program. Now, if you're in this state, you are what I call a sugar burner. You are what I call a sugar burner. And if you are a sugar burner, it doesn't really matter how many hours and how many times a week you work out. You will get fitter, but you're not going to look your best. Now, I need to be able to get you from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. When you are a fat burner, you are burning fat at will. But two things that you have to understand here. There is two hormones that we need to understand. We've all heard of insulin. And most of us, when we talk about insulin, we're talking about people that are diabetic. We have two kinds of insulin. We have type 2 diabetic or type 2 diabetic. Type 2 diabetic, this is lifestyle related. This is adult onset insulin. This is insulin that we gain in life because of poor lifestyle choices. And if you look at that, what are the symptoms of people that have type 2 diabetes? Number one, they balloon up. They become very big. They just look at food and all of a sudden they swell. Consistently, it doesn't matter how much they train, it doesn't matter how little they eat. They just have to look at food and they grow bigger. Now, if you're not taking insulin seriously, it's because you do not know insulin the way I understand insulin. High insulin levels is one of the worst things that you can have in your body. High insulin levels increases chances of you having heart attacks. High insulin levels increases chances of a woman becoming infertile, polycystic syndrome. That is high insulin levels. It increases chances of you having dementia. It increases inflammation. Inflammation increases risks of you suffering from heart attacks. All these things are high insulin. You cannot afford to play with high insulin. What is the cause of high insulin? The cause of high insulin is eating a lot of refined carbohydrates. Most of us eat a lot of refined carbohydrates. The next video I'm going to do on this, I'm going to talk about what kinds to eat, what kinds of foods to eat, or what foods not to eat. When you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, automatically it increases your insulin levels. And if your insulin levels are up, it means that you're increasing your body fat percentage. So insulin, for you to understand here, what is the function of insulin in this state? Insulin becomes a fat storing hormone. The more insulin, the higher your insulin, the fatter you become. Now, on the other side, we have what we call glucagon. What increases insulin? Eating carbohydrates. Then the other hormone that we want to be able to increase here is glucagon. Glucagon is the fat-burning hormone. Glucagon is a hormone that works on your pancreas, works on your liver. It stimulates your body to start releasing stored sugar. It stimulates your body to start releasing stored fat. So how do we change you from being a sugar burner to a fat burner? We can only do that by making sure that this is what we call, I'm going to call this is glucagon insulin axis. This has to be balanced with the food that you eat. If insulin is high, you're putting on weight. If glucagon is down, automatically, if insulin is high, glucagon is down. If your glucagon is up, insulin is down. We need to be able to change this ratio. And that's why it becomes very important for us to change you from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. This is what we're talking about when we talk about metabolic flexibility. A human being has the chance, a human being has the opportunity to be able to be fueled by two sources. You can be fueled by sugar or you can be fueled by fat. But if you're eating a lot of sugar, then automatically you're turning this off. Let me use a very easy analogy. You've always seen on the highway, you'll see these big trucks that are carrying oil. They transport oil, petrol, diesel from one place to another. This truck has two sources of fuel. It has the small tank that is driving the truck, and it's got the big tank at the back that is using to carry the transported oil. Now, this big truck, if the small tank is out of oil or petrol, it has no access to the petrol that it's carrying. So the easiest way, so if it runs out of petrol, it has to go into a petrol station, even though it is carrying thousands and thousands of tons of oil. And it's the same thing that happens here. Most of us human beings, we're carrying these thousands and thousands of fat here that we should be accessing as our main source of fuel. But because we consistently keep on spiking our insulin up, automatically it makes us that we have no access to this. So what I need to do here is, when we talk about this, when we talk about the Dream Body Fitness Program, we're talking about the metabolic flexibility, where I need you to have the possibility of going in here and out. And how do we do that? We take you through 3 different phases of your eating plan. And the first phase is what we call the detox part. The detox part is to make sure that we're going to force your body to completely make sure that it depletes all the stored sugar, all the stored glycogen, so that automatically your insulin drops, and by your insulin dropping, your glucagon goes up, and that will automatically force us to have access to our fat as our source of fuel. If there's any part of this that does not make sense to you, if there's anything that you do not understand, and if you've not subscribed to this channel, do the right thing. Subscribe to the channel, share and like, and share whatever your concerns are, whatever resonates, whatever doesn't make sense, whatever part that you need clarity, share in the comment section, and I shall surely get to you. God bless, take care, and see you soon.